Hey everyone, it's Tuesday night, 8 o'clock, so that means it's time for another Choose Your Own Adventure. This one is Captive by Bill and Luann Hampton, and it's Choose Your Own Adventure number 93. Just a closer look at the front cover. So some kind of medieval adventure during the Middle Ages. Happening here, we're like in a castle or something like that. All right, you're the star. 19 exciting endings. Can you rescue the Count in time? Rome, AD 1296. While in the service of Count Renzo, you are awakened one night by a soldier bringing terrible news. The Count has been kidnapped. You track the kidnappers to an ancient monastery in the mountains, where they are holding the Count captive. On your journey, you meet a mysterious stranger named Sapango. He offers to help you rescue the Count tonight, but can you trust him? If you decide to go along with Sapango and his plan, turn to page 112. If you decide to carry out your own plan in the morning, turn to page 93. But be careful. You are in a mysterious medieval world of silent monks and secret passageways. You may return to Rome without rescuing the Count, or you may save the Count's life and return to Rome a hero. What happens next in the story? That all depends on the choices you make. How does the story end? Only you can find out. And the best part is that you can keep reading and rereading so you've had not one, but many incredibly daring experiences. That Count is dead meat. Oh yeah, we're not going to be able to save him. Oh, that's Dr. Sapango to you. Yeah, ye old murder. 19 different ways. Sapango. I think that's how it's pronounced, maybe? Sapango? Or Chipango? And kids can't stop reading the Choose Your Own Adventure stories. And teachers like the series too. More like Count Dunzo. Yeah. He's not going to survive. All right, here's some art that is getting me worried already. I don't know what that guy's mustache is all about there, but okay. And it's illustrated by Judith Mitchell. And the cover art is by Lino Safiati. This was originally published in 1989. Sounds like a character from a Disney movie in the 40s. Judith Mitchell is also racist. Oh yeah, there's gonna be some kind of racism in here. We'll see. All right. Warning: do not read this book straight through from beginning to end. In these pages, you will be a 13th century scout. You will be summoned to explore a monastery to rescue your friend, Count Renzo, who has been kidnapped. As you read along, you will be asked to make choices, but be careful. Your choices will determine whether you succeed or fail in saving your friend. In your search, you'll encounter the mysterious and sometimes perilous world of a medieval monastery, where silent monks and secret passageways hold unexpected dangers. You are responsible for your fate because you make the decisions. After you make a choice, follow the instructions to see what happens to you next. Think carefully before you make a decision. The kidnappers are deadly, and they won't stop at anything before they carry out their plans. To help you in your adventures, a glossary of medieval and other terms is included. Good luck! Here's a map of the monastery. There's a cloister. There's the apothecary for alms. There's a belfry and an apiary. Okay. It's for us. We're the captives. Yeah, spend more time watching the Berlin Wall come down and less time writing racist books. Here's a map of all the torture rooms and the Hall of Knives. All right. Oh man, here's a glossary for us. It tells us. Oh man, defines a lot of things here. An abbot, an apiary. Is it apiary? Maybe apiary. Yeah, apothecary, belfry, catacombs, cafe. An old-fashioned way to refer to China. Oh man. Chainmail, chain of office, chamberlain, chandler, candle maker, a cowl, the doge, a ducat. Okay, so I think the rest of these we know what they are. Monk, mortar and pestle. Guess kids don't know what a mortar and pestle is. Stiletto. Not that kind of stiletto. A penance. A palazzo. All right. Here we go. Do we need most of these? I don't think so. It's the 80s. We're so excited. We're excited. We're so scared. Okay. Rome, AD 1296. You are in the service of Count Renzo Brizzi, a good and honest man who has given up his family's wealth for a life of quiet study and contemplation. Count Renzo has been a lifelong friend of Marco Polo, the explorer who just last year returned home to Venice from an expedition to China. Marco Polo brought with him a new kind of food called pasta, as well as a strange kind of powder that, when lit, makes a loud noise and produces a brilliant flash of light. You have been sent to Rome by the Count to ask the new Pope, Boniface VIII, to give Renzo and his followers the right to form an official religious order. The trip from Count Renzo's monastery in Tuscany was long, and now you have been waiting for 2 weeks to see the Pope. You are staying in a small cell in a Franciscan monastery, only a few blocks from St. Peter's, the largest church in the world. One morning, shortly before dawn, you are awakened by a loud banging at the monastery door. You hear the sound of a key in the huge lock, then the muffled voices of an urgent conversation outside. You are about to roll over and go back to sleep when there is a sudden pounding on the door of your cell. Marco Polo, the great explorer of water sports. Yes, we formed the Pastafarian religion in this book. No, I don't think we get to punch the Pope. Probably not. Go on to the next page. You call, "One moment," and throw on your clothes. A brown woolen robe, which is folded neatly on a stone bench next to your bed. You open the door to find a man wearing a leather jerkin over a suit of light chainmail. He has a sword at his side. He is obviously a soldier in someone's army. But whose? "Are you Count Renzo's envoy?" he asks. "And your uncle is the Duke of Richmond?" You hesitate before answering. The monks at the monastery know of your connection to the Count, but almost no one except Renzo knows that your uncle is the Duke of Richmond in England. Without waiting for your reply, the soldier continues. "You must come with me at once. Cardinal Rossi has sent me to bring you to him. It is a matter of extreme urgency." You know that Cardinal Rossi is the Chamberlain to Pope Boniface VIII, and is the second most powerful man in the Vatican. This summons could have something to do with your request to see the Pope. "I repeat," the soldier says, "it is very urgent that you come with me now. If you are ready, we will leave at once." And there we are, putting on our bathrobe or whatever that is. Just a towel and some rope on the ground. Oh, that's it. Yeah, to keep it. Those are like, what's that rope for? We just let it be free and like open. It's fine. "My uncle is the Duke of Sandwich. Wouldst thou like some mutton between these sliced bread loaves?" I guess we are falling for it. Who let Richmond out of his room? Soap on a rope. Page 4. Okay. Still, you hesitate. Why would the cardinal send for you in the middle of the night? Rome can be a dangerous place in daylight, and wandering around the darkness just before dawn is unheard of. And to leave the safety of the monastery in the company of a total stranger who is carrying a sword might not be the wise choice. How do you even know this soldier is really from Cardinal Rossi? We really should be going, the soldier insists. If you decide to go with the soldier, turn to page 8. If you refuse to go with him, turn to page 57. Well, yeah, so we can either go with the soldier, or if we don't trust him, so Valerie says we should refuse. Does anyone else think we should refuse to go with him? How do we know he's jerking his real leather? Oh, hi, Beth. Well, because... And Rachel says refuse. Rob says, I don't trust the man. This reads a bit different in the post-2000s. Yeah. A lot of these do. I don't trust him. Yeah, I guess so. We'll refuse. Refuse to go with him. We don't trust him, right? Why would he be waking up in the middle of the night? We don't even know who sent him, or we don't know anything about him. All right, so yeah, we'll refuse to go with him. Fake leather hasn't been invented yet. Yeah, not in the 13th century. Page 57. We refuse. Death number 1 coming up, probably. I'm sorry, you say, but I refuse to go out into the streets of Rome in the middle of the night with a stranger who is armed. What shall I tell the cardinal? The soldier asks. Tell him to send for me during the day. Then we can discuss the business that has brought me to Rome, you reply. Very well, then. The soldier turns on his heels and leaves. You hear the clank of the main door being locked again, and you return to your bed and go to sleep. In the morning, you ask about this strange visit you had during the night, but no one can tell you anything. You wait for the cardinal to send for you again for a week, a month, then 2 months, but no summons ever comes. Winter approaches. You never hear from the cardinal or the count again. When the Franciscans with whom you have been staying ask you to join their order, you accept. You spend the rest of your life in silent penance for the opportunities you have lost. The end. Wow, that's harsh. Tell the cardinal that the Pope is a dope. Man, silent penance for all the opportunities that we've lost. That's like harsher than like dying. Yeah, I'm thinking of what was that? In Monty Python and the Holy Grail, where those the monks are like hitting their heads with wooden boards for penance. Yeah, we're monks now. Yay! I guess then we'll try going with the soldier then, so we can maybe have a bit more of an exciting life. Can't we just be like the monk in The Name of the Rose and solve mysteries and write manuscripts? Is that a... I can't remember his name right now. Oh, page 8. Oh, Sean Connery. Was that Sean Connery in that movie? Oh, he's like the monk from the USA Network. Yeah, that was I haven't seen that in so long. It was a good show. Okay. Very well, you replied to the soldier. I will go with you. You hastily tie on your sandals and throw a cloak around your shoulders. Will I be coming back here, you ask? I do not know, the soldier replies. You decide to take with you only Renzo's letter to the Pope and the signet ring he gave you to prove you are his envoy. How come they didn't define what a signet ring is? Like, kids wouldn't know what that is. You are in the doorway to your cell when you think of something else. You turn back to your bed, put your hand under the mattress, and slip into the sleeve of your robe the small stiletto your uncle, the Duke, gave you when you left England. Let's go, you say, and follow the soldier into the cold, empty street. Just stay close to me, the soldier whispers as he starts off at a brisk pace. Oh, it would be, just stay close to me. Okay. Stay close to him. Page 14. A Thelonious Monk? Oh, that would be a good monk. It's like, wasn't he a jazz musician, right? Page 14, here we are. As you follow the soldier through the small back streets and alleyways near the Vatican, you try to memorize the turns you are making, but you soon realize that you are hopelessly lost. At one point, you can hear the splashing of water and the voices of some men. You decide they are probably fishermen who are about to set out onto the Tiber River in a boat. It's not far now, the soldier says. It's the next palazzo up on the left. The first hint of light is appearing in the east, and the sky is turning from jet black to dark blue. Suddenly, two hooded figures jump from the shadows of a doorway. Their swords are drawn. In a flash, without a question asked or a word spoken, your escort pulls his sword to challenge the strangers. Quick! Run to the plaza for help, he shouts to you. The porter will let you in. The soldier has backed the two assailants against the wall and stands between you and them. You can easily run to the palazzo before they can get by him, but you don't want to leave your escort alone to face two armed men. You feel the hilt of your little dagger in the sleeve of your robe and hesitate. Hoodsies. You got jumped by some hoodsies. If you run to the safety of the palazzo, turn to page 22. If you stay to help the soldier fight, turn to page 88. So do we help him fight? We'll stay and help him fight? Anybody else think we should stay and help him fight? Or run to safety? Stay and, Rachel says also, stay and fight. Beth says stay. He is our bro now. Yeah, we gotta help out our bro. We'll stay and help him fight with our stiletto. Page 88. I won't leave you alone, you say, and start to pull the dagger from your sleeve. But before you can get it out, the two assailants separate. One fights your escort, but the other rushes straight at you with his sword drawn. Before you can move, he has the point of his sword against your chest. As quick as a cat, he grabs you by the shoulder and spins you around, locking his arm around your neck. You try to kick free, but he is too strong. He pulls you into a side street and then down a maze of alleyways. Finally, he releases his grip and pushes you in front of him. Oh no, that's not good. I'll help you. Or not. Go on to the next page. Just keep walking straight ahead, he says. And don't try anything funny. I have my sword right at your back. You feel the point of the blade as he prods you forward. You think of the stiletto in your sleeve. In his haste to get you away, he has forgotten to search you. If you are quick, you can slip the dagger into your hand and fight him. Or you can try to escape by outrunning him. As you ponder the right move, you hear the sound of water splashing again. If you run towards the water, turn to page 15. If you grab your dagger to fight, turn to page 16. Oh, hi, Sean. Yeah, kidnapped already. They look like the Dink Dinks from Spaceballs. Yeah. Dink Dinks. Hope that's a Union grip. I don't know. Fight. So Rob says we should go towards the water. Rachel says we should fight. Valerie also says knife. Beth says knife. Run to the river. I have to pee. I think we're gonna fight. Like that's sounds like a slight majority want to fight. See how this ends up. Every time we think we're like super fast, and that we can like do something really really like fast before someone else does something, it never happens. But maybe this time we'll be wrong. You quickly slip the dagger out of your sleeve and into the palm of your hand. As you turn the next corner, you run several steps forward and wheel around to face your abductor. But he is too quick for you. As you turn, you see his sword drawn back. You lunge at him, but he nimbly steps aside, and you fall forward to the cobblestones. He kicks the stiletto from your hand. You try to get back on your feet, but your assailant slashes at you with his sword. You duck, feeling the rush of wind pass over your head, and fall back on the cobblestones. In a flash, he is standing over you, his sword raised above his head, poised to strike. Too late now. You wish you had resisted the impulse to use force. The end. And it shows a tower for some reason. I'm not sure. You call that a knife? That's not a knife. All right. Well, already two bad endings. Well, let's try. Let's try running towards the water then. Yikes. So I guess that means that in that ending we got like slashed to death or something with his sword. I'm assuming. That's what happened. Yeah, they always make us pay for like trying to fight or think that we're fast enough. Page 15. You take to your heels and run as fast as you can in the direction of the water. After a couple of blocks, you've lost your abductor. You slow down, turn a corner to find you are only a block from the Tiber. You hastily walk to the riverbank. Down to the left, two men are untying a rowboat. One of the men is in the boat. The other is on the bank, and he calls to you. "Ahoy!" he shouts. "Are you lost?" "I am trying to find the Brizzy family palazzo," you reply, walking towards the boat. It is the only place you can think of to give as your destination. And at that moment, it is the only place in Rome where you are reasonably certain you will be safe. "We are going near there," the man says. "Can we take you?" You're not sure what to say. You ought to try to get away before your assailant catches up with you. The men have fishing gear in the boat and appear to be genuine fishermen on their way out for the day. But so far this morning has been full of surprises, and you are quickly learning to trust no one. Tiber, Togotoga. Yeah. Oh yeah, Tiber, Toga. Yep. Okay. Yeah, death by sword is usually merciful as far as endings for these books. Doesn't really go into detail. All right, so if you run to the safety at the oh no, wrong one. If we step into the boat, turn to page 24. If you decline their offer, turn to page 5. Valerie says become a sailor. Rachel says sailor. Anyone else think we should become a sailor? Hello, sailor. Are you ready, kids? Go into the boat. Okay. Let's go into the boat. Don't get off the boat. Not unless we're going to go all the way. You know your assailant is still looking for you. You decide to go with the men in the boat. Soon you are gliding up the Tiber. "We have been employed by Cardinal Rossi to take a party up the river to Orvieto," the man at the helm says. "The Brizzy family palazzo is only a couple of miles from there." When you arrive at the dock, you recognize the soldier who was escorting you to the Cardinal and whom you had left on the street. He is with a girl you have never seen before. The soldier identifies himself as Bruno and introduces the girl as Giovanna. She is Count Renzo's sister. The cardinal was sending for you to tell you the sad news that Count Renzo has been kidnapped and is being held hostage in a monastery in Trevi, Bruno says. The cardinal wants you to undertake a rescue mission with Giovanna and me. We have a letter of introduction from him to the abbot of the monastery. You are astounded by this news, and would do anything to help the count. But your instructions were to see the Pope, and you only have this soldier's word that the count is in danger. There is no time to lose, Bruno continues. The kidnappers have given us a deadline of 1 week. We are going by boat to Orvieto, and then by land to Trevi. Will you come with us? If you go with Bruno and Giovanna, turn to page 18. If you refuse to go on the mission, turn to page 67. River party, river rave. Yeah, that river rave didn't last long. That would have been nice. We'd been on the boat for a while. Yeah, we know he's kidnapped. We are, I don't... So Rachel says we should refuse to go on the mission. Refuse to go with Bruno and Giovanna. But Beth also says we should refuse. Anyone else think we should refuse to go on this rescue mission? To rescue Count Renzo? Giovanna is shady. Okay. I guess we'll refuse. So we're not doing this mission. Page 67.
Were you hoping we would?
I think the book wants us to. I think it wants us to go on the mission with them, but I'm not sure. I think, judging by the stuff that's happened so far. I wish I could go with you, you say, but I must return to Rome to present a petition to the Pope. Bruno and Giovanna expressed their regrets and set out on their mission. Good luck, you say, and start back to the city. Along the way, however, you meet a band of gypsies. They feed you and invite you to spend the night. The next day, the leader asks you to join them permanently. When you politely decline, the gypsies lock you in one of their wagons and force you to go with them. For the next 5 years, you are forced to travel the countryside with the gypsies, a captive like the Count. Only there is no one to lead a rescue mission for you. And the end. And there we are. We were kidnapped by the gypsies. Yeah, there's the racism, man. Like, so much, like, sometimes they, like, give the racism out in small doses, and sometimes you get it, like, all at once. You get, like, a massive overdose of racism. Yeah, here's all the gypsies in their strange gypsy ways, playing music and dancing and stuff like that. Oof. Oh, there we go. And there we are, locked in. Yep. Great. Locked in a wagon. We were locked up for being racist. That was a sudden and violent racist slap. Yeah. It's like that other book where we, yeah, would ask if we wanted to trust the gypsies or not. And it was like, of course we're going to trust them. Yeah. Man. Okay. So I guess we should go with Bruno and Giovanna. I wonder if this is a book that they'll ever republish. Probably not. Or it'll have to say that they've republished it, but they've updated it for modern audiences. And that page would definitely be something that they would update. All right. Yeah, right, Rob? The only time that it's okay to see the word gypsy is in a Fleetwood Mac song these days. That's about it. Okay. You decide that now is not the time for doubts. You will leave by boat with Bruno and Giovanna. Let's get started, you say, and the three of you set off. Bruno explains that you will travel up the Tiber by boat to Orvieto, then take horses across the Umbrian hills to the monastery at Trevi. You make good time, and the first night finds you near Orte. You make camp there, not far from the banks of the Tiber. The next morning, however, only one of the boatmen is at the river waiting to continue the journey. He explains that his partner became ill during the night and has returned to Rome by land. You think the story is suspicious, but decide to go ahead on the journey. You are not even an hour up the river when the boat begins to leak. "We must put in to shore," the boatman says, "and repair the leak. Accidents will happen." You feel certain that the leak is not an accident, but you are not sure how to proceed. You don't want the boat to sink in the middle of the river, but you know that every delay threatens the Count's life. If you put in to shore, turn to page 10. If you insist on continuing despite the leak, turn to page 28. You don't think they'll have a traveling Romani, people kidnap you ending in the 2022 version? 2022? Yeah. I don't know. There was a book that they updated and it like still had a little bit of racism in it, but they added like cell phones. Like they didn't really update it enough, you know? But, yeah, fix the leak, right? Row the boat ashore. Hallelujah. Albeth says we should continue on despite the leak. Anyone else think we should continue? Yeah, racism is always better with cell phones. As long as you've got your cell phone, then, then the racism is okay. Yeah, I guess we'll row the boat to shore. Seems like the right thing to do and the tasty way to do it. How did the leak happen on purpose? I don't know. Maybe that guy put a cut in the boat or something to make it leak. Page 10. Very well, you say. Make for shore. As the boatman is maneuvering for land, you whisper to Giovanna and Bruno. "This is no accident," you tell them. "The other boatman sabotaged us and then fled, and we can likely expect more attempts to delay us." "I agree," Bruno says. "What will we do?" Giovanna asks. "We'll think of a plan when we get to shore. There must be another route to the monastery, and meanwhile we must be very careful." Once you've pulled the boat ashore, you examine it more carefully. It's obvious that someone has drilled a hole in the boat. The boatman says it will take at least 2 days to repair it. "We cannot wait 2 days," you say. "Someone is trying to keep us from reaching the monastery." "Where are we?" you ask the boatman. He does not reply except to shrug his shoulders. Giovanna points to some rows of neatly planted and pruned olive trees. "Those olive trees are part of a farm," she says. "There may be a farmhouse nearby. We can find out where we are, perhaps rent horses for the rest of our journey." Turn to page 21. You and Giovanna and Bruno start out across the field towards the olive groves. You walk for half an hour before you come to the road. By the side of it, 4 men are seated around a small fire. One of the men is the second boatman, the one who supposedly was taken ill and returned to Rome. "Trouble on the river?" the treacherous boatman asks. They all laugh. Bruno reaches for his sword, but all 4 men are immediately on their feet, their own weapons in hand. "What do you want with us?" Giovanna asks. "Let's just say you will be our guest for a week or 2, the boatman replies. You suspect that the 3 evil-looking characters with the boatman are highwaymen who have been hired to keep you from reaching the monastery. You think of a possible plan to get away. Oh no, how will we get away from these evil highwaymen? Sounds scary. Oh good, we're their guest. Treacherous boatman, as opposed to the other kind in literature. Aren't boatmen always treacherous? Page 36. How much is the Duke of Genoa paying you? You ask one of the highwaymen. Who said anything about the Duke of Genoa? The boatman asks nervously. Why do you ask? The highwayman says, ignoring the boatman. We will pay you twice as much to let us go, you say. That's a lie, the boatman says. They have no money with them. We searched their belongings. We have some gold ducats hidden in an olive grove near here, you say, ignoring the boatman. Let me borrow one of your horses to get them, and I will give them to you in exchange for letting us go. You will simply steal the horses and ride away, the highwayman says. One of your men can come with me, you say, and you can keep Giovanna and Bruno here with you as guarantees. You made a deal with the Duke, the boatman says to the others. You can have the Duke's money and ours, you point out, playing on the highwayman's greed. You'll be sorry if you cross the Duke, the boatman says. Are you afraid of the Duke, you ask, just to fuel the argument? I'm not afraid of anybody, the highwayman boasts, but now speaking directly to the boatman. Oh boy. Yeah, it's a pretty bad lie. Like we have some ducats like in an olive tree somewhere. We just happen to have some there. All right, go on to the next page. You're making a big mistake, the boatman warns. Says who? The highwayman retorts, as the other two men join in the argument. While the four of them argue and trade threats, you silently motion to Bruno and Giovanna to move towards the horses tethered nearby. At your signal, the three of you run to them and leap on. The startled highwaymen and boatmen stare helplessly after you, yelling and shaking their fists as you ride off. You ride past the rows of olive trees, still unsure where you are. About a mile or so, you finally see a farmhouse. At the same time, you spot a signpost indicating that you are on the road to Spoleto. You think that this might also be the road to Trevi, which is just north of Spoleto, but you are not sure. You could stop at the farmhouse to ask for the right direction, but you hate to waste any more time. And if we stop at the farmhouse, turn to page 26. If we keep riding, turn to page 25. So we can stop at the farmhouse to ask for directions and just make sure that we are on the road to Trevi, or we can just keep riding. So Valerie thinks we should stop at the farmhouse and ask. The road to Spoleto with Bing Crosby and Bob Hope. Ask. So Rachel says we should also ask. And Beth says also ask, stop at the farmhouse. Alright, I guess we will stop at the farmhouse and ask. Page 26. Oops. You decide to stop at the farmhouse. As soon as you ride up to it, a dozen farmhands surround you and Bruno and Giovanna, swinging pitchforks and kitchen knives. The horses you have taken from the highwaymen were stolen from this very farm during the night. You explain how you came by the animals, but the owner of the farm refuses to believe you. You are all held in the wine cellar as prisoners for several months. There, the three of you are forced to work an oil press until a traveling judge passes through the area and pronounces you innocent of all wrongdoing, whereupon you return to Rome. Great. Like we're pressing something. Oh, oil. Making olive oil. I see. Huh. Well, that's not so bad. That seems like fun. Making some olive oil. I mean, everybody likes olive oil, right? Okay. Wow. Now, how many times do we get kidnapped or forced to, do stuff that we don't want to do. All right, well, I guess we'll keep riding then and not stop at the farmhouse, which that would be page 25. You ride with Bruno and Giovanna all day, stopping only once at a spring to water the horses. By the time it is dusk, you are within sight of the monastery. You decide to make camp for the night and approach the monastery at daybreak. The monastery stands on top of a steep mountain, and you make your camp at the base of it. You see a narrow opening in the face of the mountain, and discover it leads to a small cave where the three of you will be able to sleep undisturbed. At one point during the night, however, you are awakened by the mewing of a cat. You try to go back to sleep, but the cat begins to butt you on the shoulder with its head. Well, that sounds familiar. You raise up on one elbow, and the cat continues to meow and run towards the entrance of the cave. If you get up and follow the cat, turn to page 30. If you go back to sleep, turn to page 39. So do we follow the cat or just go back to sleep? Maybe the cat's trying to tell us something. Something important. Cat knows some things. The cat is just trying to bring you to her food bowl. Yep. The cat's just trying to bring you to a different bed. Bring you to a bed because he wants you to jump on it and then give her pets. Cats. So that means we should follow the cat, Rachel? I think you would want to follow the cat, right? Maybe the cave is like a bear cave or something, and she's trying to let us know that we're in danger. Yeah, so Valerie also wants to hang out with the cat, and Beth says follow the cat. All right, I think we're going to follow the cat. Page 30. You get up and go after the cat to see what it wants. As soon as you step outside the cave, you notice someone or something moving above you in the shadows. The cat, which you had almost forgotten, then begins to rub up against your leg. You reach down to pick it up, and several pebbles fall around you, followed by one or two small rocks. In a flash, the danger is clear. You shout to Giovanna and Bruno, and dash back into the cave to rouse them. By the time all three of you are safely outside, the rock slide is a torrent, raining down boulders that seal the entrance to the cave in a matter of moments. For the rest of the night, you take turns keeping watch. At first light, the three of you start up the mountain towards the monastery. But you've only gone a few hundred yards when you suddenly remember the cat who saved your lives. And here we are, almost getting caught in an avalanche or a rock slide. And there's the cat. That is a little cat. Wow. All right, if you go back to get the cat, turn to page 73. If you decide that you don't have time to get the cat, turn to page 48. So Valerie says we should go back and get the cat. Buy some milk for the cat. I don't know if we can do that. Maybe later if we survive all of this. Beth says get the cat. Valerie's like, yeah, the cat saved us. Does anyone think that we should not go get the cat? Is it unanimous? Get the cat. Get the cat. All right. We are going to go get the cat. Page 73. Cat. Rachel says cat. Page 73. You ride back to find the cat. Come on, little fellow, you say, picking the animal up and holding it in your hand. You put the cat in your cloak and rejoin the others. Where did you go? Giovanna asks. I forgot something, you reply. You no sooner speak than the cat meows from inside your cloak. Giovanna stares at you at first, but after a moment her face eases into a smile. It should have a name, she says. We'll call it Jasper, you say, for good luck. He's our good luck charm. Okay, I guess Jasper means good luck. The climb to the monastery is difficult. It takes you most of the morning. You arrive just before noon at the huge doors and pull the bell chain. Shortly, a small door in the corner of one of the large doors opens, and the figure of a hooded monk appears. He says nothing. "Ah, good morning," you begin. "We are friends of Cardinal Rossi, and seek sanctuary for a retreat. I am instructed to give this to the abbot." You take the cardinal's letter from your pocket and hand it to the monk. Before you can say another word, he thrusts the letter into his robe and slams the door in your face. "Strange behavior," you observe. "Very strange," Giovanna says. You wait for several minutes, and just as you are about to pull the bell chain again, the door abruptly opens, and the monk beckons you inside. "I am Father Ludovico," he says. "Follow me." The monk leads you down a long corridor and ushers you into a small room off one side. A short, plump man with a bald head and a bright red nose greets you. "I am Father Domenico, abbot of the monastery here at Trevi," he says, grasping your hand. "Although it's more like an inn than a monastery just now." "What do you mean?" you ask, your curiosity aroused. Go on to the next page. "We have had many visitors lately," he replies. "There is the poor man who is ill, the one who was brought by the two other men, and then there is the old Asian gentleman, Cipango, a pilgrim from Cathay." "Where is the man who was brought here ill?" Giovanna blurts out. Oh, that's Giovanna. Okay. "Where is the man who was brought here ill?" Giovanna blurts out, unable to contain her excitement. The abbot looks startled by the urgency of her question. "I don't know," he confesses. "He was in the apothecary, but I think he is now in one of the cells." "Why?" "I am Father Plump." Plump. We are interested in the medicinal arts," you say. "Perhaps you could see the patient later." "Perhaps," says the abbot. "Would you like to see your cells now? Or would you prefer to join me in the chapel? It is nearly time for our noontime prayers. Lunch will follow." You would like to go to your cells to plan how you will search for the Count, but the abbot may be able to tell you more about the mysterious visitor who was brought here ill. If you ask to go to your cells first, turn to page 32. If you go to the chapel with the abbot, turn to page 9. Now, so we can go check out our cells. It sounds really exciting. They've got some cells for us. Sounds really sounds like a place where we can really make ourselves at home. Or we can go to the chapel and get some lunch. Go to the chapel. It's almost time for the noontime prayers. If anyone needs me, I'll be in my cell. Can the Father just show us the snacks? Yeah, can we skip the noontime prayers? We're hungry. We just want to have lunch. So Rachel, I think Rachel wants to go to the cell. I think Valerie wants the snacks. That means we have to go to the chapel. Beth wants to go to the chapel. Anyone else want to go to the chapel or go to the cells? All right, I guess we will go to the chapel. We can find out some. Maybe we can find out some more stuff about this mysterious visitor. Page 9. "We will accompany you to the chapel," you tell the abbot. On the way there, you ask again about the mysterious visitor, but the abbot silences you with a finger to his lips. "We will talk later," he says. As the three of you follow the abbot into the chapel and make your way to the visitor's pew, a monk with his hood pulled low over his face bumps into you. "Excuse me," you say, but the monk clutches you tightly by the arm and whispers into your ear, "I will take you to him. Follow me." "You will take me to Java now." "Do." All right. You pull your arm free and turn to question the monk, but he has already passed you, walking down the far aisle. You watch him as he stops beside a recess in the wall. He looks back at you and motions you to follow him. Then he slips through a door in the recess. You must act quickly. If you excuse yourself from the others and follow the monk, turn to page 100. If you stay in the chapel for noon prayers, turn to page 45. Well, we can follow that monk. Valerie says we should follow him. Rachel says follow. Beth says follow. Okay, we're going to follow him. Follow that monk. Page 100. Hopefully that's not a trap. Okay. I must go, you whisper to Giovanna and Bruno. I'll meet you later. You quickly stride down the far aisle and through the door into a narrow passageway. The monk is about 20 yards ahead of you, waiting. He is holding a torch and motions for you to follow him. You walk slowly towards him. As you approach, he turns and begins to descend some steps. Then he turns left along a narrow passage. As you turn the corner, the faint but unmistakable smell of baking bread reaches you. The monk motions for you to follow him. This might be a trap, you think. The monk said he would take you to him, which could only have meant Count Renzo, and you will go anywhere to find the Count. But you remember the warning about the dangerous underground passageways. What warning about underground passageways? I guess we've already forgotten it. If you continue to follow the monk, turn to page 59. If you run back to the chapel, turn to page 56. Oh, good, the snacks. It's time for some baked bread. Oh, him means bread. I will take you to the baked bread. That's what you wanted, right? Rachel says, oh my God, follow. It's taking us, for the love of God, follow. Anyone else think we should follow him? Yes, Beth says also follow. I think we're going to follow him. Yes, follow. Dollar also says follow. 56. Certain now that you are being lured into a trap, you turn on your heels. Oh wait, that's not the right one. Whoops. What page was it? Page 59. Oh, okay. We're going to follow him. Whoops. Okay. You figure you've gone this far, so you might as well keep going. You proceed down the passageway towards the monk. Two men step out of the shadows, and you see they have knives drawn. You are about 5 yards from them when you decide to turn back, but they are too quick. They throw a sack over your head, and one of them puts the point of his knife next to your ribcage. The men quickly bind your hands behind your back, and then push you forward. There is nothing you can do. You stumble along with them for about 10 minutes. Then they remove the sack over your head. You are shoved through a door, landing on a cold stone floor. The only light comes from a crack in the wall 8 feet over your head. As your eyes get used to the dim light, you see that you have at least 5 cellmates, huge brown rats. You wish you had stayed in the chapel and prayed. Well, there we go. I guess that's what we get for not staying in the chapel and praying. We get to get devoured by giant rats. Serves us right. The end. Crack. Okay. Well, I guess we'll run back to the chapel. You dirty rats. Page 56. Certain now that you are being lured into a trap, you turn on your heels and begin to run back up the passage that leads to the chapel. 2 men step out of the shadows and give chase. You can hear the sound of their boots on the stones, only a few yards behind you. It is dark in the underground passage, and twice you nearly stumble and fall. Your pursuers have torches and can see where they are going. You know they are gaining on you. You come to the steps that lead back to the chapel door. Again, the smell of baking bread fills the passageway. You look down at the floor and notice a tiny shaft of light coming from beneath the bottom row of stones. On a hunch, You push with all your might on the stones above the light. A door in the wall swings open, and you stare into a huge kitchen. There are about half a dozen monks all glaring at you. They do not seem the least bit friendly. It might be better to try to make it back to the chapel, but you're not sure you can make it in time. If you enter the kitchen, turn to page 61. If you run back to the chapel, turn to page 78. Now, maybe the cat will come help. Yeah, where's the cat? Not helping at all. Oh, so do you want to enter the kitchen? Snacks, yes. Get some bread. Go into the kitchen, get some bread maybe? Kitchen. Rachel says kitchen. Beth says go back to the chapel. Valerie says bread, so that'd be the kitchen. Yeah, I think we'll enter the kitchen and see what happens. Get some bread maybe. You step inside the kitchen and shove the door closed behind you. You can hear the scuffle of feet as the men who were chasing you continue along the passageway. You look at the astonished faces staring at you in the kitchen. Huge pots hang from the ceiling, and flames from the wood fire cast an orange glow over the room. "Excuse me," you begin, trying to think of an explanation for your sudden entrance. "I was looking for the chapel. I think I made a wrong turn." A monk approaches you. He is holding a large butcher knife in his hand, and he seems more surprised than the others by your presence. "What are you doing here?" he hisses under his breath. "You're supposed to be—" Then he stops. "Yes, brother?" you ask. "Where am I supposed to be?" An older man with white hair braided into a single pigtail and a long drooping mustache intervenes. He looks Asian, and you wonder if he is the pilgrim from Capet that the abbot mentioned. He looks Asian. Sounds like a scene from Cable Guy. All right. "I am Sipongo. I was on my way to the garden to get some parsley. You said you were looking for the chapel? I think the noon prayers are over and lunch has begun. If you would be so kind as to accompany me, I will show you the way to the dining hall." "Yes, of course," you reply. It looks Asian. All right, turn to page 83. The old Asian man leads you to the herb garden, kneels down, and begins to pick some parsley. "Quick," he says under his breath. "Get down and help me. We are being observed." Well, that's not good. Show me the way to go home. Show me the way to go back to China. I've had enough of this place. Yep, time for some more racism. You look over your shoulder and see the monk with the butcher knife standing in the doorway watching you. You fall to your knees and begin to pick parsley. "Do not ask any questions," the Asian says. They just call him the Asian. He has a name, but we're just going to call him the Asian from now on. Okay. "Do not ask any questions. Just listen. We are here for the same reason, but we must act with great haste. There is not much time. They are very close to learning what they want to know. Once they find out, the Count's life will be worth nothing." Okay, there we are, hanging out, picking parsley. Good times. Go on to the next page. "What are they?" you begin to ask, but the man stops you with a raised hand. "No more now," he says. "Meet me tonight, after vespers, at the stables. Come, prayers are over, and the brothers are in the dining hall. I will show you the way." You reach the dining hall just as everyone is leaving. Giovanna and Bruno are talking to the abbot. "Ah, there you are," Giovanna says, a look of relief on her face. "We missed you at lunch," the abbot says. I saw someone I thought I knew and followed him," you reply. Why are we lying? "Tell me, where does the passageway off the side of the chapel lead?" "The passage leads to a labyrinth of underground catacombs. Even we do not know how far they go. There are stories of monks who have become lost down there and have never been seen again. Are the cells ever used for visitors, you ask? Never, the abbot replies. I advise you to stay out of the underground passages. After Father Domenico leaves, you tell Giovanna and Bruno about your adventure and the old Asian man in the kitchen and what he told you. What do you think it is that they want to know? Giovanna asks. I don't know, you reply, but I plan to meet him after Vespers. Do you think we can trust him? She asks. Can we trust anyone? You reply. What a bunch of shady monks. Yes. Page 94. When you reach the stables, you are surprised to find Sapango on all fours, beating on the ground with his bare hands. It's around here somewhere, he mutters to himself. I beg your pardon, you reply. You ask. He looks up at you, but does not seem surprised. The well, he replies. If you want water, there was a pump in the monastery, you say. I had hoped we were both trying to find Count Renzo. The man gets up and looks at you. We are. I'm almost certain they are holding him in the catacombs, you say. I know that, he says, but we will never rescue him by crawling around that underground maze in the dark. So what are you doing? You ask. I'm looking for another entrance. One of the old monks in the kitchen told me that there's a well here somewhere that's no longer in use. It supposedly sprang from near the cells in the catacombs. What will you do when you find it? I don't have time to explain it now, he says. They are close to discovering what they want. When they do, they will not value the Count's life. We must find a way to make them move him out of the catacombs. Well, how will we do that, you ask? That's where you come in, he says. But first, we must find the well. Just keep trusting everybody, it's fun. Gotta find the well. At that moment, a cow moves loudly in the stable. You step back, startled. Your foot hits something hard beneath the hay, and you go sprawling. Sapango is right at your side. He helps you clear away the hay. Beneath it, there is the cover to the well. You lift the lid and pull on the rope. Soon, a large bucket appears at the mouth of the well. Take this, Sapango says, handing you a small paper cylinder with a string sticking out of it. When you get to the cell where they are holding the Count, touch the string to your candle and toss this into the room. Don't be surprised if you hear a loud noise. Where will you be? You are a bit suspicious. I will have some men waiting for the kidnappers and the Count at the top of the stairs. Now, get in the bucket, and I'll lower you down. The whole plan sounds absurd. Also, Sapango sounds a little crazy. You should have a sword, not a small paper cylinder with a string. But you will do anything to save the Count, and this man is convinced there is great urgency. If you get into the bucket, turn to page 112. If you decide not to follow Sapango's plan, turn to page 93. What is happening? I don't know. We're about to get it. He found a way to get to the place that we're trying to get to. Into the catacombs. But in a way that we won't get lost. How are we going to fit in that bucket? That doesn't seem... There's the bucket. And there we are. I don't know about that. Get into the bucket. Bucket. Alright, we're going to get into the bucket then. You climb into the bucket, and Sapango begins to lower you into the well. When you are even with the cell, you yank on the rope, and the bucket stops. You hear voices inside arguing. We've got to get him out of here, one man is saying. Those spies from the Cardinal are getting too close. But we nearly have the formula, another voice says. We're missing only one ingredient. Where's the book? The first voice asks. I don't know, the second voice replies. It's disappeared. You lean closer to the wall. A brick at the top is missing, and you can look into the room. There are 3 men. You can also see the Count, bound and gagged, in the corner. Well, we can't just stay here now, the first one says. We've got to move. Two of the men go to the Count and pull him to his feet. He looks drugged. It's time to act. You take the paper cylinder, put the string on the flame of your candle just as Sapongo instructed you. It starts to sputter. You toss it into the room through the hole. For a few seconds, nothing happens. Then, a huge noise like a clap of thunder shakes the room, and there is a brief, brilliant flash of light. The men scream in horror and run into the passageway. You kick at the wall of the well, and the bricks collapse. Swinging on the bucket, you drop into the room. You can hear the kidnappers running away. They have left the Count behind. Page 72. Making your way through the smoky, acrid-smelling room, you find your master and friend. Untie his hands and take the gag from his mouth. Count Renzo, can you walk, you ask? He nods. You put his arm around your shoulder and help him slowly climb the stairs to the kitchen door. Renzo seems to be coming around. As you open the kitchen door, Sapongo comes to help you. He is smiling. Several other monks, including the abbot, are standing behind him. Giovanna and Bruno are there too. They must have all come from the Vespers when the loud noise went off. You and Sapongo help Renzo to a chair. We must organize a search, you say. The kidnappers are somewhere in the monastery. They all ran out of the underground cell when the little roll of paper made the noise. The firecracker, Sapongo says. In China, they call the little paper cylinders firecrackers. That is what the kidnappers were after. I don't understand, you say, but we must hurry and catch them. They are safely locked away, Sapongo says. You see, I figured they would run from the noise of the firecracker, but we were waiting for them. They are now safely locked away in one of the dungeons. It was you, my young friend, who captured them and saved the Count. That's true, Renzo says, rising. He rubs his eyes, then steps forward and embraces you. My faithful friend, you have saved my life. Drink some water here. You've saved his life. Well, that sounds good. We've saved his life with the help of our new Asian friend. Page 108. More than that, the Asian man says, turning to you. You have saved the secret. You are right, Marco, Renzo says. That is even more important. What secret, you ask? And I thought your name is Sapongo. I am more often known as Marco Polo, he replies. He then takes off his wig of white hair with a pigtail. I assume the disguise of a pilgrim from China in order to look for Renzo and to find my book. It is an account of my travels in Cathay. Among other things, it contains the formula for exploding powder. The Chinese use it for colorful fireworks, but in the wrong hands it could be used for harm. What happened to it, you ask? I had given the book to my friend Renzo, Marco says, but the Duke of Genoa's men did not find it when they kidnapped him. It was sewn into Renzo's cloak. Ludovico, one of the monks here in the monastery, discovered that Alfredo the chemist had found the book and sent it to the library. But he did not have time to finish copying it for the kidnappers when the librarian took it from him. The kidnappers had discovered 2 of the 3 ingredients, saltpeter and charcoal for the exploding powder, but they did not know the third. When I learned that saltpeter was missing from the kitchen and charcoal from the abbot's study, I knew they were close to discovering the formula. Once they had it, they would have killed Renzo. The storyline is in the wrong hands. Page 35. Where is the book now, you ask? I can explain, the abbot says. I knew the book also had a recipe for a new dish called pasta. I asked the librarians to bring it to me, and I gave it to the cook. It is right here in the kitchen, hidden in the flour bin. Just then, Father Alfredo, the chemist, rushes into the kitchen looking for the abbot. The thief has struck again. This time there's a whole jar of sulfur missing. Marco Polo laughs. I don't know what's so funny, Father Alfredo says. I need sulfur for my medicines. It was I who borrowed some for a little recipe I was cooking up. Well, don't ask me to dine with you, the chemist retorts. This recipe was for a firecracker, Marco says. Sulfur is the third ingredient for the formula that the kidnappers were looking for. Tonight, we'll celebrate with a dinner of pasta, followed by fireworks. The Count puts his arm around you. Tomorrow we return to Rome, he says. I feel certain that the Pope will ordain our order, and I want you to be our first abbot. The 12-year-old abbot, sounds good. Renzo then takes his family ring from his finger. And I want you to have this, he says, handing you the ring. As long as I live, I will be in your debt. And there we are. So happy. Not quite sure who's who. Like, is that us on the left? I guess. Maybe. Oh, we're having some pasta. That's cool. So that guy that's named Alfredo, isn't that a type of pasta? Yeah, just what every 12-year-old boy in the 80s wants. They want to become an abbot. I've always wanted to become an abbot and live in a monastery. Wow. Oh, you were joking about the fettuccine Alfredo? No, my friend fettuccine Alfredo. Well, that's how it got its name. Yeah. Oh, man. Oh, look at all that. All those different types of pasta. Wow. We got ravioli and spaghetti and the elbow macaroni or something. And there's some, like, people in the background. Well, it's a good thing that, like, people never got a hold of that secret formula for making firecrackers, huh? The world was, like, kept safe from those things being turned into weapons. It's a good thing they kept that a secret. The world was a lot safer. Wow. Okay, well, I guess we'll stop there. Yeah, so this book had multiple references to some racist things. So, well, it is, this is only Choose Your Own Adventure 93, so you would think they'd gotten rid of the racism, but no, it's still there. Still quite prevalent. You're welcome, Rachel. All right, well, hey everyone, yeah, so I guess we'll stop here. Hope you enjoyed the book somewhat. And yeah, we'll definitely be back next Tuesday and read another Choose Your Own Adventure. So hope you all have a good week and have a good night. Take care.